All right. Now we'll develop one small scenario here. Right. I'll say call option. We'll develop some diagrams where we'll just change the number, and based on the number we will typically get a graph for that values. So let me say a strike price or exercise price. I'll enter some number here. I'll enter some number for a strike price or exercise price. So let's say I'll take that 2500 or some number. The moment I change the number here, my graph also has to be changing accordingly. My values have to be changing accordingly, and the graph has to change accordingly. Now here I'll put up something. Let's say market price. I'll say premium and payoff or profit. So I'll look for different possibilities of the market price. Let's say right from 2000, if the market price on that day goes to 2000 or 2050, like that I'll go even up to 3000. I'll just drag it down to 3000. For every 50 change, I'm putting something like this. Now in all these cases, the premium is the same, right? The premium amount is the same. So probably I can even put the premium here instead of putting in this column. Instead of putting it in this column, I'll just maintain these two things: the market price and the profit. The premium I'll put here, the corresponding to 2500. I can very well pull out the premium for 2500. For 2500, the premium is 14.9. Let's say it's a call option, right? 2500, the premium is 14.9 today, that is available in the market. So I mean, whether 14.9 is a good price or a more price, overprice or underprice, will determine slightly later when we are doing a option premium option pricing model. But here we are assuming that we will go with 14.9, and based on that I am trying to create how a graph of a typical call option comes out, right? So I'll take this number, let's say as 14.9. Premium will keep changing. No, for which one? No, this is the strike price. Strike price is I will buy Infosys at 2500 on 28th Jan. For that strike price, for this strike price, the premium is 14.9. Now these numbers are the market price on that day, 28th June. I am expecting that the market price is any of these numbers. If I assume that the market price is any of these numbers, I want to see how will my graph look like, or how will my profits look like. Now in case of call option, what is the scenario? If the market price is greater than your strike price, right? In case of call, I'll just write it out. In case of call, if the market price is greater than the strike price plus your premium, then it's a profit for you. Or the other way of talking of is your profit is equal to the market price minus the strike price plus premium, or a loss of premium. You will have a profit either a premium loss or the difference between the market price. If the market price is, let's say, your strike price is 2,500, which means you have to buy Infosys at 2,500 on that day, and you are paying a premium of 14.9 today. So totally you will have to pay 2514.19 to buy Infosys. So you will really have a profit only if the stock price goes above 2514.9. Otherwise it's a loss for you. So in the loss you can very well back out, which means your loss cannot be more than 14.9. So the same thing I'll put it in the form of a formula here. I'll simply say equal to the maximum of, I'll use a formula called equal to max, equal to the maximum of either this market price minus the strike price plus premium, or the loss of the premium. So I'll say loss of the premium is what? Maximum of minus this premium number. So at the max I can, my profit is, because I am talking about profit, minus premium is my profit, which means I can lose to that extent. So it's a maximum of either minus of the premium or market price, this is the market price, minus strike price. Here because there is a bracket, I'll put one more minus premium. This is what I'll put, which it says in this case my profit is minus 14. In case the market price in the market is 2000, if the market price of Infosys on 28th June is 2000, I will expire the call option, because as per the call option I will have to buy Infosys at 25 on that day. When it is available in the market at 2000, why should I buy it at 25? So I will back out of the contract. So because of that my loss is only 14.9. So I will simply use this formula, max of minus the premium. This is the one. Profit is either the market price minus the strike price minus premium, or minus of just premium. Out of this, whichever is higher, I'll choose that value. And now before I drag it, I need to put a few dollars which will actually fix the position. So wherever these two values are there, for B3 I'll put a dollar. So I'll make it as $B $3. And similarly here also for B2 I'll put a dollar, and again for B3 also I'll put a dollar. Now what I can very well do is F4. You double click on that and press an F4. So for B2, B3 we'll put the dollars. Now we are getting, this is the scenario. Now what I can very well do is take these two things. Yeah, probably now again we'll get into the graph so you can get the it. So okay, now that we have this numbers, we can very well think of plotting a simple graph. So again the way I am plotting the graph is I select this data including the headings. I select this data, insert, I go into insert, and here in the chart section I'll look at line chart. Select the first one, anyone you can select, your choice. So by default it plots something like this, because all the numbers are treated, typically all the numbers are treated on the y-axis, but the graph wise I want these things on the x-axis and this has to be on the y-axis. So I will edit this graph by doing a right click on this chart. I go into the select chart. Whatever is relating to this data, by default it has plotted on the y-axis, which is nothing but the market price. So I'll remove the market price series here. I'll remove the market price series, and preferably I will edit this series and I will add all the market price labels here. So on my x-axis here, I'll get the labels and I will get a chart which simply says this is what is my payoff in case of a call option. Now you see, in case of a call option, my loss is capped. My profit is unlimited. If the stock price is keeping on increasing, my profit is increasing. But my loss is capped only to that extent. At the max, I can lose 14.9 in this transaction. So by doing this, the advantage is now I can just change these two numbers and my graph gets automatically changed. Now let's say I'll take some other strike price. Let's say 2600 is the strike price. Right? 2600 is the strike price. The premium is 1.65. So I'll write those two numbers here. Just edit it. 2600 and 1.75. Whatever is it? 1.65. Now your graph is automatically updated. So it is saying at the max you can lose only 1 rupee 65 paisa. Right? If you are getting a profit, you are getting a good profit. But loss you are not losing that heavily. Your loss is only 1.65 at any cost. But that 1.65 also, if it is a guaranteed loss, you may not be willing to get into that. Right? If you see, it's like in the next 4 days, the chance that Infosys will cross 2600 is pretty meager. Only 4 days, 125 rupees change in the stock price may be possible. But again, the chances are very slim. Probably if it has been 2500 or 2450, the chances are much higher. So wherever the chances are much higher to cross that number, the premium will be higher. If the chances are lesser, the premium will go lesser. So call option is all about buying it in future. Put option is all about selling the security in future. So selling it at a fixed price. So in case of 2600, the put option will have more premium compared to a call option. Because in the put options case, the thing is, after 4 days, I can sell Infosys at 2600. There will be a lot of demand. Because obviously, I will exercise it. Because the market price, unless it crosses 2600, I cannot think of selling it in the market. I will sell it in the market only when it crosses 2600. Otherwise, I will sell it to the contract itself. So the chance of exercising of the contract is much higher. So that's where the premium also will be higher. So using our model, we really have to find out what is a better strategy or what is the better price for this Infosys, which option is worth buying, which option is worth selling. But before that, we are trying to understand the call option graph will come more like this, which means your upside is unlimited, whereas your downside is more and more limited with a typical call option. Now similarly, when you get into a put option, so this I'll say profit, I'll put it for call. Then I'll put profit for a put. Now, in case of put, my profit will come only if the stock price, if the market price is much lesser than the strike price, because I am selling it at a higher price, right? So here the formula will become, or probably premium wise also, the call premium will be different and put premium will be different. So what I'll do is I'll add one more row here. This premium, let me call it as a call premium. And I'll take another premium, which is a put premium. The put premium for the 2600, this is 2600. The put premium for this 2600 is 127. The put premium for this is 127. Alright, so I'll write here as 127, which is the put premium. Now, based on this, I can find out the profit associated with a put option. The profit for me is coming out again as the maximum of either the minus put premium, which is the same, minus put premium, or the market price, or the strike price minus the market price minus the put premium. The strike price minus, because I will sell it at 2600, but I have to pay a premium of 127 today. So in effect, I am selling it only at 2600 minus 127, because I have to pay a premium to get that right to sell it at 2600. So in this case, again I'll have to put the necessary dollars before I drag. So for all these things, the B4 I'll put $1, B2 I'll put $1, and again B4 also I'll put $1. Now it says this is my profit, 473, 373, and so on. And now when I include this also as a part of the graph, the same graph, I'll edit it, again select data, I'll add one more entry here. This entry, it says name. The name I will give it as, this is the title, profit put. And the values, I'll delete whatever by default it has selected. And I will select this location. This is the location of the values. Now this is how my put option graph comes up. Even in this case also, there is a limitation, right? In the downside is limited, but it is limited to the extent of minus 127. If I lose, I will lose up to 127, not beyond this. So in either case, whether it is a call option or a put option, my downside is limited, especially for a person who has taken the option, who is the buyer of the option. The downside is limited, whereas the upside is completely unlimited, right? So in case of put, if MP is less than strike price minus premium, it is going to be beneficial. So the profit in this scenario is coming out as a loss of premium or strike price minus premium minus market price. So with this, the advantage typically is I can very well look at, see what would be a better strategy, right? Probably now this is just one call and one put, right? One call and one put. But probably as it moves, we may have to look at a combination. Probably one call and one put together if I buy, right? If I buy one call plus one put, how is my graph going to look like? It's not two individually. If I buy one call plus one put together itself, or I buy one call and I sell one call, or I buy two calls, I sell two calls of different prices. How will my graphs appear? Because if there is any scenario which is creating almost profit always, that is a better graph to typically look at, right? You see, if we look at the simple call option in this case, even if there is a loss, that loss was pretty limited, only 1.65, right? The amount I am not losing much, right? But there, if that 1.65 is also like a guaranteed amount, right, guaranteed loss, then I may not prefer. Otherwise 1.65, which one? This one. See, as long as the market price on that day, on 28th June, is let's say 2600 odd or lesser, until that point my profit is 0, or probably what we have got as minus 1.65. So if I get into this, if I take a call option with this strike price, until the stock price on 28th June crosses 2600 and something, my profit is not existing. Almost only it's a loss of 1.65 rupees. But after that, in case the stock price on that day touches, let's say 2800 or something, my profit is going to shoot up like this. So if it touches 28, I'm going to make a profit of 198. So my profit is unlimited, but the loss is limited. Now, same way with the put. If the stock price is anything more than 2600 odd, I'm going to lose 127 rupees. But in case the stock price falls lesser than that, probably I am going more and more profitable. If the stock price falls drastically on 28th June, I am going to get a benefit in case I had taken a put option. In case I had taken a call option, I would be more beneficial if the stock price goes up on the expiration date. If I had taken a put option, I would be more beneficial if the stock price goes down. So the call is beneficial in terms of a bullish market. Put is more beneficial in terms of a bearish market. Right? Now, when there is a buyer to this option, obviously there is a seller to these options. The seller's position will always be a mirror reflection to the buyer's position. Because what the buyer, or if the buyer loses, the seller will gain, and vice versa. So the buyer's position, now if I simply have to put that, the seller's position is simply the negative of this. Right? Just to do it in the same graph, if I put just a minus before this, because if it is a loss to the buyer, it's a gain to the seller by that amount, and vice versa. So just to see that out, I'll just put a minus before this formula. We'll again revert it back. But I'll just put a minus before the formula. Drag it. This is what is the seller's position. So seller is exactly a mirror reflection. Now even in case of put PC, this is the seller's graph, where he will get a profit when the buyer is at a loss. So it's always better to do all the calculations from a buyer standpoint and simply put a negative if we are looking at as a seller, because what the buyer gains is what the seller loses, or vice versa, right? Now we'll try to create a few option trading strategies to see which of the strategies suits this situation much better. So there are some widely spread strategies that are, though there is no restriction on what strategy you would like to use, but on each security, if we have some kind of a model like this available, the benefit is at any particular point in time, just by replacing 2 or 3 data there, just by typing in 2 or 3 data, we can get a clear picture of which strategy is much better, what is the maximum profit I can get, what is the minimum loss or what is the maximum loss I can incur. Based on that, I can take my decision on which strategy to typically implement in this scenario. Now, just to understand that, I'll try to jot down a few strategies, and based on that, we'll see the graphs for different option trading strategies. And the moment the numbers change, even the calculations also are automatically taken care of. And the better thing I suggest to use that is at least the strike price, right? I'll use some VLOOKUP kind of a formulas for that, which will give you a kind of comfort level in using the formulas dynamically. So for that, what I suggest is, once you copy the data, you just copy the strike price column at the beginning. Just copy the strike price column, probably one more copy or whatever it is. You take the strike price column and paste it at the beginning again as one more copy. Though there are so many advanced ways of Excel formulas, ways of dealing with it, this is more easier kind of a way, so that you can fill in the data more and more dynamically. Instead of you typing in, the reason why I asked you to write it is, instead of you typing in these two numbers, we can fill these two numbers directly from that sheet just using a formula. Now just let's try observing that. Here itself we'll do some editing now. I'll use a formula called VLOOKUP, which will help me to look up for this value called 2600. See, here there is a mandatory thing for us that I have to fill these two things by looking at the table. But if I can have a mechanism that if I just change this number, these two are automatically pulled out from this table and are represented, it will easen up my work. Otherwise, I have to search where is 2550 corresponding to this. It may result in some manual error. So that is where I am depending on a formula based approach, where I'll use a formula called VLOOKUP. The way I'll give the formula is, I want to look up for, probably if you are not comfortable in the usage of the formula, I suggest, okay, you say VLOOKUP with an open bracket, The first field you enter is this number 2600, whatever is your strike price. Just point to that location where your strike price is there, comma, which means you have to search for that number. You are giving a direction to the system saying search for that number called 2600, where you, with that comma on, you come to this sheet 2, select this entire location. Select this entire location column, A to whatever till the last, wherever your data is existing, comma. Now, if I want the call option price, right, I want the call option premium. Which column contains the call option premium? It's the G column. G column contains the call option premium. G is nothing but the 7 in the total, in this total data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the 7th location. So I'll put number 7 here, comma 0. These are the 4 input values. 0 is more like an exact matching. Only if 2600 is found in this list, then only give a value. Otherwise, don't give any value. The moment I give this input, you see the same number is pulled out and displayed. The same 1.65 is pulled out and displayed here. Just try out on this formula once. Now put up the formula. So the same way, just like the way we have done for call, we can do the same thing for put. So I'll simply say VLOOKUP of this number, comma, this sheet. For me, the put is in the S column, which is the 19th column. Yeah. If it is in R, you will write. So the exact counting of the column number. So I'll get this. The advantage for me is my graph and everything will get updated now. If I just change it to 25, even my call, everything is changed. Right? This premium has become 14.9 and this premium has become 44. So that is what is the benefit of Excel. Right? Once you write the formula once, you just need to change a very minor input. So only thing is now I have to change this number. Everything is getting changed dynamically. Right? All the graph and everything. This is where, see, which means minimum I just need to change only one value. And probably I'll see that we'll plot so many graphs now. So many graphs and so much of analysis on the strategies, which will tell me that, I can easily make out just by changing that number, I can watch the entire thing in a very small location, which is where I can do a quicker decision. It will really help me in taking a good decision if my intention is to mitigate my risk. So in which combination the risk is coming down drastically. Right? So that will really be helpful for the different trading strategies I am implementing. Right? So let's now look at implementing a few of these trading strategies. So the most commonly available trading strategies which people look at, and in each of the cases we see what is the kind of a profit or the loss when I am getting into the execution of each of these trading strategies.